Alright, welcome everyone, welcome. This is the World Championship 2025 review. I'm basically going to go over some of the top decks. Some decks I believe should have won. The deck that did win in the juniors and masters and seniors. I don't know if I'm going to look at the juniors because I have no idea what's happening over there. Raging Bolt won over there. I don't know what's going on. So we're just going to ignore it. Anyways, our winner was Riley McKay. He's running this Gardevoir deck list with 4 Monkey Dory, 3 Ralts, 2 Corellia, 2 Gardevoir EX, 1 Screamtail, 1 Pheasantipity EX, 1 Fluttermane, which is actually really good. It shuts off the ability for Goldango, most importantly. Also Charizard, if it's in the active, cannot use its attack ability to set up. So I think those are the 2 most relevant things. Also Marnie's Grimmsnarl is the same thing. If you evolve 1 into the active, it will not have its ability with this in the active. These fairies, you gotta have at least 1 in any psychic deck you play because of that ability. Fairy Zone is probably one of the strongest abilities in the game right now. U is really good for some extra draw support, and Genome Hacking is actually a pretty decent attack with Gardevoir. 4 Research and 4 Iono for maximum consistency. You have 2 Arven just in case if you need to grab those TM Evos. I think that's really all you really need Arven for, and that's why you're only playing 2. 4 Ultra Balls for max consistency for the Vessel to make sure we're really getting those psychic energies to be able to dump them into the discard. 2 Rare Candies to make sure we can get the Gardevoirs out easier in case we can't get TM Evo out. 2 Counter Catchers for some Gusting. 2 Night Switcher Recovery, 2 Nest Balls to just grab 2 routes or anything that you need. 1 Super Rod. Because that's really all you need to run in Gardevoir, because most of the time you're only grabbing Dark Energies and Pokemon. So you don't really need more than 1 of these. 1 Secret Box. Secret Box is a really great way to dump Psychic Energies, getting your anything you need for your plays. 2 TM Evos, make sure you're getting the ability to use 1. You're guaranteeing a higher chance to be able to start with TM Evo. TM Devo pairs really well with Screamtail, since Screamtail can put its damage anywhere on the field, and Hex Hurl from this Fluttermane actually does put 2 damage counters anywhere on the bench. The Monkey Dory also spreads damage, so Team Devo can be pretty devastating late game. Bravery Charm is really good. I'm surprised he's only playing 1. 1 does seem weird to me, but also I've been playtesting, and yeah, on some matchups you only really need 1. Some matchups are really hard when you only have 1. I'm assuming that I'm just playing the deck weird, and that's why I'm struggling so much. And then you have Artisan. Artisan is the reason we're not playing as many basic Pokemon searches, because we're playing 2 Artisan and 4 Dark Energy for those 4 Monkey Dory, and the 7 Psychic Energies, which is pretty normal for Gardevoir to be running 7 energies. You always want a lot, but not too much. Anyways, that was Riley McKay. Let's go over the second place deck, and then there's 2 decks I want to go over that one deck that I want to go over that I believe could have won if things didn't go wrong for them. This is the right deck. Okay, so this was our second place. If you guys remember, in the game 1, he prized 2 Dracloaks. That was basically game over for him, realistically. He's playing 4 3B, 4 Dracloak, 3 Dragapult EX, which is pretty standard for this deck. He's also running a pretty standard Duskull line, being 2 Duskull, 2 Dusclops, and 1 Dusknoir. That's pretty standard. 2 Badoo's pretty standard in this deck. Actually, I think normally most of them run 1 and then you slap something else. Actually, I think they run normally 3 Duskull and 1 Badoo. But maybe he just doesn't need that, so that's probably what made him stand out compared to the other ones. 1 Latias, which in my opinion seems a little weird for this deck, but maybe he was cooking. I think that's honestly just a pointless card to have in your deck. like in a deck like this, I should say. You got Halucha for flying entry to be able to put 10 damage on 2 Pokemon, being able to knock out 70 HP basics with Phantom Dive. Pheasantipity. Pheasantipity's good in any deck it's in. Blood Moon or Salona, I'm guessing it was a good backup plan if your Dragapult gets knocked out, because it does actually do more damage than Dragapult to the active Pokemon. 1 Monkey Dory to be able to bounce damage with, which is, again, kind of strange you're only running 1 Monkey Dory. If I were playing this deck, I would actually probably deck out Latias for a 2nd Monkey Dory for making sure you can actually get that Monkey Dory out, because in some matchups, this is very important to have. Then you have 4 Research, 4 Iono. I think that is the play right now, is 4 Research, 4 Iono in most decks, because especially with Goldango, if you're not playing Goldango, you want 4 Iono, because you can shut down Goldango pretty quickly with Iono. 2 Boss for Gusting. You really don't need to Gust very often with this deck, which is why you're only running 2 Boss and 3 Countercatcher, because Phantom Dive allows you to spread damage, Dusknoir allows you to spread damage, Dusclops allows you to spread damage, and the Monkey Dory and the Halucha. So you really don't need to control what's in the active, but you do sometimes need to be able to do that, so that's why I'm running at least 2 Boss and 3 Countercatcher for that purposes. 2 Hilda, which I think is actually a great amount for this deck. It allows you to Hilda once for an Upper Neo Energy and anything you need, and then Hilda again for another evolution Pokemon when you need it, and potentially and whatever energy that you might need for your future plays. 4 Buddy Buddy Puffin, which gets you out basically all the basics that you need, that you don't Ultra Ball for. 4 Night Stretchers for maximum recovery, which is good when you're running a Dusknoir line, because Dusknoir knocks itself out, which means you can recover your Dusknoir pieces with Night Stretcher, so it's really good. Ultra Ball is also really good, being able to grab Halucha or anything else you need. Nest Ball. Nest Ball's probably to be able to grab an Ursulina or Pheasantipity if you need it. 2 Jamming Towers to turn off those tools. You're running 2 just in case if they get rid of the first one, you can place it with the second one. I think it's the reason we're running Lanios, so you don't have to run Rescue Board, but I still think Lanios is weird. 3 Luminous Energy, which seems really strange to be running 3 Luminous Energy when we're only running 1 Monkey Dory. It would have made sense to run 2 Luminous Energy and 2 Fire Energy and 2 Psychic, but no, they're running a 3 Luminous Energy, 2 Psychic, and 1 Fire, which just seems weird. And then Upper Neo Energy is the A-Spec, because that's probably the best A-Spec for Dragapult right now. Yeah, this is a really good deck. I think that they were missing some pieces. Yeah. And then one deck that I do believe, if they did not have such an unfortunate thing happen to them, so I'm pretty sure Piper, she prized 3 Gimmigholes or Goldangos. I don't remember which one it was, but basically it was like a game-ending prize. And unfortunately, that caused the loss of the game. Anyway, she's running 3 Gimmigholes with the Mirror Aaron running for Energy Search. 1 Call for Family Gimmighoul to make sure you can get some extra basics if you need it. It's also a Gimmighoul with 1 Retreat, which can sometimes be really good. You're running 4 Goldango EX, which is pretty standard. She ran the Strike It Rich Goldango, which I think is very interesting over the Scizor, but maybe she just did not want to have to use up 2 deck spaces for a non-EX attacker, so she went just with the normal vanilla Goldango, which I think is actually not a bad choice here. It did work out pretty well. I mean, she probably won, in my opinion, if things did not happen the way they happened. Genesect EX 2, which is really good in case you prize 1. This is really like what makes Goldango really good now. Well, one of the things that makes Goldango really good. We'll get to that soon. She was running Togepi Togekiss, the Togekiss with Wonder Kiss. Every time you knock out one of your opponent's active Pokemon, flip a coin. If heads, you take an extra prize. It's really, really good. I know some people were running Chansey for that, but I think Togekiss is a lot more consistent, especially in a deck that doesn't mind having a bench slot taken, because Goldango normally only has like 2 or 3 Goldangos in play at a time, so you easily can put that Togekiss on the bench without taking up all your bench space. Pheasantipity EX to recover was really good. I mean personally, I don't like playing Pheasantipity EX in Goldango because it's too much draw power at that point, in my opinion. 1 Monkey Dory is pretty standard for this deck. This deck does not like running 2 because that means they have to run multiple Dark Energies, which does nothing for them. 4 Safe Remaining Code Breaking, which I actually think is a smart way to play this deck, and it makes a lot of sense. 3 Arven, pretty standard number, so 3 to 2 is what I've been seeing is what works the best. She opted for 3 because of the amount of air balloons she's running, but that's actually the real reason that you run Arven at that is for the air balloons. Boss's Orders at 3 is really good. I'm getting a call, let me... Alright. Okay, so anyways, Pheasant, yeah, all 3 boss because you really need Gusting, especially if you go up against Jealous and EX. You kind of just instantly lose to that card if you can't get it out of the active. Professor Toro Scenario allows you to pick up the Genesect or the Togekiss if it starts taking damage, or if a Goldango gets stuck in the active, or if a Serendipity gets a lot of damage on it, you can always just pick it up. You never really want to run more than 1 Toro in this deck because this deck is really tight. 4 Superior Energy Retrieval, which is optimal. I think you can't play this deck with less than 3, in my opinion. You could play it with 3, it just makes things a little more complicated. 4 Buddy Buddy Poffin, 3 Nest Ball, that's pretty standard for Pokemon searches, and 1 Ultra Ball though is actually, no, that makes sense, because you really only need to be able to Ultra Ball for that Togekiss, so you only really need 1. Tool Scrapper is really good against Gardevoir, which won Worlds, by the way, so I'm pretty sure she could have probably, Piper could have probably pulled out some crazy wins if had, at least I think, if I remember, if it was her that I'm thinking of, then yeah, it would have probably been really better. I don't know if it was her that I'm thinking of, or no, but anyways, the point is, her deck was really solid. That is the point I'm trying to make. Well, we'll get Gear 3.0, which is really good to be able to either get Cypher Maniac or a boss, which you have a lot in the deck, so there's a really high chance you hit one of those. Night Stretcher 1 is actually kind of interesting. But also, again, really tight deck space, so it does make sense to only run it at 1. Earthen Vessel is very interesting. 1 Rare Candy, the Togekiss specifically, which is why I need to run 1. Energy Search Pro as your ace spec. You can't really run any other ace spec if it's definitely instantly. 3 Air Balloons, another card that makes Goldango really, really good. It gives it free retreat, which is insane. Artisan is actually an interesting play. It probably allows them to search for the Monkey Dory when needed. Grab a Togepi without having to waste your Buddy Buddy Poffins or Nest Balls, I guess. I'm not sure why you're running Artisan in this deck. I can see some use cases, but also at the same time, I don't think it's the best play, but hey, this deck got really, really far with it, so. And then 1 Levincia, you need 1 to Levincia, realistically, because you're playing 1 2. In the game 3 Metal Energies, because you're realistically only attacking the Goldango before you lose the game. 2 Electric Energies to make the Levincia be operational at max capacity, I should say. 1 of the other colors of energies. The Dark Energy can also be used for Monkey Dory if you need, if you're in a matchup that needs that. You know, I think this deck could have won if things had played out a little differently. But anyways, that's just what happened, I guess. And speaking of which, we do have this to react to real quick. So, if we look at the prices here, let's actually put out right here. This is really, really unfortunate Prizing both Dracloaks almost an instant loss. Also prizing one of those important bosses is really unfortunate. He really didn't prize anything that serious on this side, so already Riley K was in a much better position than just Udor. We don't need to watch it at speed. We speed up. We can even go a little bit faster. We're gonna run it in 2 times. I'm pretty sure Justin is going first, which is already unfortunate for his deck in this matchup. Having the Buddy Puffin here, I mean, like, that's the best card to play in your first turn. The only unfortunate thing is he cannot Badoo lock his opponent here because he is going first. Deck checking, I don't know why he's able to deck check this long. I feel like you shouldn't be able to do that for so long. Also, grabbing a Badoo in a 3P is really interesting, especially if you're going first. Doing this needed, right? Okay, yeah, yes. It just attaches and passes, which is really unfortunate for that. Now as you're gonna see, McKay's, I think, basically got everything he needed to really get set up here. Do I need to play it faster than 2 times? Yes, I do. Otherwise, this is going to be like an extremely long video. 2 times speed is the... 2 times speed is the fastest. Gotcha. Let's speed through their deck checking real quick. Secret box here. It's going to play the Arzon and an S-Ball to get to... things is TM Evoing here, which is good. He's going to find out that one of his prizes is the Corellia. He's like Kua, so he's on with a TM Evo for 1, but even TM Evo for 1 is really good in this situation. Ultra Ball for the Dracloak, which is really good, but I think is guarding that. And Dragon Ball is a little dangerous, especially when you have already prized a Night Structure. He's setting up his board more here. It's just a lot of setup and stall. Now he can't really attack Scream Tail because he's giving Scream Tail more damage to work with, which is a little unfortunate. He's gonna Hilda. Here's the thing that I think where he messes up. He could have, I think he could have taken out the Scream Tail before it did more damage. Had he gotten the Dusclops and did the 50 damage. Because he could have still trapped the Gardevoir into the active. It didn't matter though, because he did have the energy in hand to be able to retreat. He also gets to dump an energy into the discard. Moving 2 damage onto the Dreepy, which seems a little strange to me, but I think you wait for 10 more damage. Yeah, you do get the Dragon Ball out here, but now here's the thing. He could have had the opportunity to knock out the Scream Tail here if he doesn't take it. believe that he is punished for it, if I remember correctly. Yes, he gets punished for not having used the ability. He loses the prize card anyways. If he had used the ability, Cursed Blast, and knocked out the Screamtail, and still would have been, he would have been 5-3 instead of 6-3, which would have been a much better position in my opinion. But now it's a little too late. He's got 3 prize cards left, and as we're about to see, we're about to get a Lily's Clefairy Flash. I think that, yeah. He just shows him the Lily's Clefairy, showing him, yeah, your Dragapult cannot win this game because I have this card. So then they scoop it up, they go to game 2. Riley McKay, again, prizes absolutely nothing. Devastating. He's going first against a Badoo, which is a little scary. He does grab that Mew. He's doing the standard Dragapult turn here by Hilda for the Upper Neo. I think attaching Upper Neo here is actually a huge mistake, because then it gives Riley McKay a great target for his Screamtail. If he can get the Screamtail out quick enough, he's gonna TM Evo for a Gardevoir and Big Furley, which is actually kind of insane position for him. His opponent is trying his best to dig out his deck for things that he can use here. I think he's just in a bit of an unwinnable situation here. There's not much he can do. He just has to stall and hope that Riley cannot knock him out before it's too late. He's just gonna grab some more Evos. He's gonna get the Dusknoir out. I think he makes another misplay by not ever Dusknoir. If I remember correctly. I think he just does not Dusknoir. He is gonna grab some cards here. Putting the Screamtail on the board. And now here's where things go really poorly for his opponent. He's just able to knock out that Dusknoir again. He could have went 5-5 prizes, which would have been a way better situation to be in than this right now. Well, yes, he gets to fire back with a Phantom Dive. Is it really worth it? Especially when you're only doing nothing else on 30 damage. And that Gardevoir still has 90 HP remaining, so it's really difficult to... I think that this is where he messes up, just putting extra damage in other areas. Yeah, and then he can just... the reason his opponent scooped and gave up is because he has 3 energies, which means he could have Genome Hacking, used Phantom Dive. With that Lily's Clefairy, that Phantom Dive would have done 400 damage, knocking out the Dragapult. And here's the issue with that. His opponent does not have a way to get around the Lily's Clefairy at the moment. And he knows the second that the Mew goes down, so he'll have 3 prizes card. Mew, he'll go down to 3. But here's the problem. In order to knock out the Mew, he needs another Dragapult, which then, if Mew gets knocked out, Gardevoir or the Lily's Clefairy can come out and return knockout, putting him to 1 prize. And then he just does not have another Fire Energy to get this up, so he has to top deck the Luminous Energy, which I don't even think he has another one left in the deck, which is another reason he scoops, because he has 1 attached to this Monkey Dory, 1 attached here, so he might have exactly 1 card that you would have to top deck 2. You have to top deck, not only have 2 Dragapults to be able to play, but also top deck in Luminous Energy in order to get this Draclo. So there was just no way for him to win this game, so that is why he scooped. For anyone who did not understand, like, why did he scoop? That's why. He just could not. There was no actual way for him to win unless if he drew everything perfectly. And that's only assuming that would have actually worked. Now we're going to also look at this one. Okay, good. Alright, prizes here. The only person who has really bad prize here is that tandem unit right on, because he's only playing one of the deck, I'm pretty sure. We'll go over the deck lists in a moment. I just kind of want to get through these. So it is Genesect and a Zorua as the start. I'm sorry, Energy Search Pro. What? I didn't play an Energy Search Pro, that was just showing an Energy Search Pro. Okay, so he's going to get that Joltik set up for next turn. His opponent is going to be able to TM Evo. He has, I'll explain later. So then he's going to attach an energy TM Evo for 2 Zoroarks, which is really good. His opponent has to figure out what he can do here. His opponent is kind of just setting up his board a little more, getting that Joltik charge going, that Iron Hands to hope that he can start doing some early knockouts, but unfortunately his opponent just gets the end Zoroark to be able to, now he just needs the End's Reshiram to start doing damage. He pulls out the End's Reshiram, knocking out the Joltik, also giving him a little bit of an advantage here where attacking this Zoroark is dangerous because you potentially put yourself in a position where it's now one-shotting anything in your deck. So he's going to go for that second Jolting Charge, I'm pretty sure is what he goes for. Yeah, he goes for that second Jolting Charge to get the Pikachu EX up and going to be able to knock out those Zoroarks. His opponent is just going to... Did he just pass? Like, what? No, then he just knocks out that Joltik before things can get any more chaotic for him. He's going to Fez, he's going to Superior Energy Retrieval to be able to potentially take a knockout with this Goldango question mark. Oh no, he's just... Interesting, I'm not sure what happened there. Anyways, he did attach a Bravery Charm, giving it 50 more HP, making it a little more harder for his opponent to knock out here. It still does have 2 energies remaining, so all he has to do is attach a Metal Energy to be able to knock out a second one, claiming another 2, taking him down to 2 prizes. So it's going to be really difficult to catch up here. But he does have the Fez, he's going to Fez, which is going to get him a lot of cards here. The Petrarch could potentially save him with that attack, doing 60 times every time his opponent takes the thing. He unfair stamps here, hoping that it just bricks his opponent up. Yeah, and then his opponent is just gonna it's just gonna knock out that Zoroark with ease. They're both down to 2/2 prizes from the... Wait, how did he get... What happened here? Oh, he knocks out the Fez and Dippity, that's right. Okay, so he knocks out Fez for another 2 prizes. And return knockout here. He's just gonna try to put together some resemblance of a board here. He's gonna have to pass with an End's Reshiram to make sure that his opponent can't take a double prize knockout, just in case. He is trying to figure out how he can knock out this he prime catchers to be able to reposition the board here. And then here's what happened. If I remember correctly, Gabriel reshuffled his opponent's deck, and as he did, the Superior Energy Retrieval flipped up, and that is why it is face up. He did not actually draw this, it was just face up on his deck. So then they had to go to judge review for like forever. But then one of the cards he did draw was a Superior Energy Retrieval, allowing him to knock out the Zoroark. Here's the code if you guys want to play that go, in case you didn't watch Worlds. This start is a little unfortunate for Gabriel and both players. This is not ideal start for either, although Gabriel is going to get a ton of Zoroarks on the bench here. He does, and his opponent does start with that tandem unit, so it does make things a little fun for his opponent. He can also grab the Lanias to be able to give that Iron Hands for free retreat, and is able to Jolting Charge for some energy for the Iron Hands, and I think he attaches 1 to his Miraidon. Yeah. He's gonna have to pass. Gabriel gets a chance to do stuff. He's gonna trade, draw a bunch of cards, put a Zoroark in the active here. Wait, what happens here? But yeah, he sacks the Zorua to be able to stall for a turn, which allows his opponent to take a double prize knockout. He does get told rule out, which prevents his opponent from using things that allow him to add cards from the discard to the hand. So it's really good against that Superior Energy Retrieval. He no longer has to worry about it. He is going to just try to dig for some energy is what it looks like he needs. Yeah, he's in a very unfortunate situation where his opponent was just able to Jolting Charge a couple times for a bunch of energies to be able to set up the board. He does take a 2-price knockout here, but it is going to be returned with a Pikachu knockout on that Zoroark, leaving him with no energy on the board again. He does get the Blood Moon Ursaluna to be able to knock out that Iron Hands. Wait, what happens here? Oh, I see. He's gonna... Oh, he's able to grab the... I don't know why his opponent scoops on the... Oh, he can retreat. I think we'll look at his deck. I think he had a way to retreat his Ursaluna. That's why. He was going to leave his opponent with no energy on the board, and that would make it impossible for his opponent to do anything, so now it's 1-1. Unfortunate start for Gabriel. Attach pass. His opponent has everything he needs to be able to get a big Jolting Charge turn 1 here, setting up that Iron Hands. He is able to get some raw power with Cleffa. Unfortunately, it does give his opponent a free Ampu very much. Double prize knockout here, taking 2 prizes. He does have to go back to that Petron and hope that he can just hide behind it for a little bit. He does try to hide behind the Zorua, which does indeed get knocked out. Taking another, his opponent takes another 2 prize knockout. He does try to return that knockout with a Blood Moon. Unfortunately, I think his opponent here is able to get the superior energy that he needs for the knockout on this Blood. No, he just goes for the Jolting Charge to set up a Pikachu, and his opponent cannot stop the Pikachu from knocking out and taking 2 prizes, letting him win the game. So that was the that's what happened there. Let's go look at those 2 decks here real quick. So the this player was running the 4 Mirror Aaron running Gimme 3 Gimme Gold Dango EXs, which is very unique and interesting, I think, in my opinion. It's really weird that you have that, but do you, I guess? 2 Genesect EX, which is all good because in case if you prize one, you can still be able to pull one out. 2 Iron Hands for the same reason you're running 2 Genesect, just in case you prize one. Thank you very much. Does 120 and allows you to take 2 prizes, an extra prize card. Allows you to make 1 prize Pokemon, up 2 prize Pokemon. So it is just very good all around. So yeah, that's a really good card. You're running 2 Joltik for the same reason. You don't want to prize 1 Joltik. Also, sometimes you can use 2 Joltiks in the game. Sometimes that wins you the game. You're running 1 Latios, because really all you needed to be able to give all your Pokemon free retreat except for Dingo. But he is running the balloon to solve that. Miraidon at 1, because realistically you're not Tandem Muting. Tandem Unit is good for this deck, but also not necessary for this deck to get operational. It just makes the deck a little more consistent. Positivity, again, is a recovery tool, and then Pikachu EX, we're running 1 because, well, you don't always need Pikachu EX in every matchup, so you don't need to worry about prizing it in some scenarios. For Arvin, which you can get all these 2 for Arvin to make sure you can always get a superior energy retrieval or a prime catcher, which is really important for this deck to be able to do stuff. 3 boss for gusting, because being able to position with Iron Hands and Goldango EX is very important. 2 Brock Scouting allows him to grab either a Goldango if needed, or 2 of any of his basic Pokemon, which is really good. 1 Petrol. Petrol allows you to grab any trainer card that includes a supporter, these tools, or an item. So it allows you to just basically set yourself up in a position to win the next turn, or you can grab something you need for that turn. It's a pretty good card. Reservoir Scenario to be able to pick up anything that's taking too much damage. 4 Nest Ball to make sure we can get all of our basics out. 4 Superior Energy Retrieval to be able to retrieve the energies after your Iron Hands or Pikachu EX. After your Pikachu EX attacks, you can just dump energies into the discard, which you can use Superior Energy Retrieval to recover. So you can Goldango. Very much. Once your Iron Hands dies, you can do the same thing with the Goldango and Superior Energy Retrieval. Just being able to dump those energies into the discard for that Goldango to Superior Retrieval and return a knockout. So it's really good. 3 Buddy Buddy Poppin to make sure we're getting the Joltix and the Gimmigles out, because these are 2 of the most important cards. Goldango gives this deck important draw power, which this deck struggles with, which is why it is here. 2 Pokegear to make sure we can get our hands on either Boss Disorder, Petrol, Sprouting, Scenario, anything that you need really, so you get those easier. 2 Earthen Vessels to make sure we can always have energy for Joltik or Goldango. Prime Catcher is a really good base pack. It allows them to reposition themselves and also reposition their opponent. For optimal Amphiberry Marches or Topaz Bolt, or even Make It Rains. 2 Air Balloons to make sure 2 of your Goldangos can't get stuck in the active. 1 Bravery Charm to give any of your basic Pokemon here, like Iron Hands or Pikachu EX, 15 more HP, which I think these 2 are the only cards worth using that on. 2 Levincia to be able to recover electric energy. You're running 4 of those. You're also running 4 Grass and 3 Metal, so it's really good deck list. So it's cool that it won Worlds. Let's go check out his opponent's deck. Gabriel was running in Zork. Okay. Oh, no, I see. Game 2, he did not use Unfair Stamp yet, so he could just Arvin for Unfair Stamp and then mess up his opponent. So that's why he's scooped. Okay, that makes more sense. He's running 4 Enzorwa, 4 Enzorwa, because this is your main card of the deck, so you need 4 of these. 2 Toedscruel, just in case one gets knocked out before you get the Toedscruel out. Toedscruel is a really cool ability called Slime Mold Colony. Cards in your opponent's discard pile cannot be put in their hand by any effects of any abilities or trainers, which is really good. Against Goldango, which was really popular, so that's why it was good. We got the 2 Monkey Dories for healing and damage positioning. You got 2 Reshiram to make sure you don't prize one, because if you prize one, then your Enzorwar cannot attack, and then you just kind of lose the game instantly. You got Cleffa for some draw support, to make sure you just get everything set up that you need. Blood Moon to just in case you need to just do big damage quickly if you're losing. Petulant EX allows you to give your Zorworks technically free retreat, with its ability being able to just force up any Dark-type Pokemon into the active and poisoning them, which the poison is actually not that bad because Powerful Range will do 20 more damage for every damage counter on your Pokemon, so the more poison damage you take, it forces your opponent to take out that Zorwork before it takes too much poison damage that it's starting to do a ton of damage. Pheasantipity, you always kind of want to run Pheasantipity at this point in the meta. There's not a lot of decks that don't run Pheasantipity anymore because it's just really dangerous to not run Pheasantipity. Pheasantipity is probably the strongest card in the format. Arvin at 4 to make sure you can get that Unfair Stamp when you need it, the Binding Mochi when you need it. So that's like the main real reason you're running 4, because you want to make sure you're getting that Unfair Stamp. when you need it. Same with the counter catchers and that 90 Mochi, and also TM Evo. You're running 2 Janine's Secret Art, which allows you to attach 2 dark energies to your dark Pokemon. If it's in the active, it gets poisoned, which is not a bad thing. Again, like we talked with Zoroark. Then we have 2 bosses. Boss allows you to gust. 2 Professor Scenario, because you really want to be able to pick up stuff like Blood Moon and Petra, because you really don't want these things being knocked down. 2 Iono to kind of disrupt your opponent's hand, in case you already used your Unfair Stamp, you have Iono as a backup version. Or Buddy Puffin to make sure you get in those Toad Squirrels and Zoras. And also, if you need Cleffa, 3 Nest Balls to make sure you can get that Blood Moon, a Monkey Dory, Festivity, or Petra out. 2 Counter Catchers for extra gusting if you need to be able to use the Janine's Secret Art and then gust. You can do that. 2 Super Rods to make sure we are keeping things in the deck for trade. It also makes it so trade doesn't have the downside too big, because trade, if you don't know, allows you to discard 2 cards and then draw a card. Just discard a card and draw 2 cards. So that's a really strong ability. Energy Switch to be able to reposition your energies. 1 Ultra Ball, because you really only need 1 Ultra Ball really to get 1 Zoroark set up, and then you're basically winning the game at that point. 1 Earthen Vessel, because you're really only you're not too worried about your energies, which I think is actually one of the reasons this deck could not win. Palpad is really good to recycle some of your supporters like Iono and Boss and Janine. Unfair Stamp, when your opponent's Pokemon knocks out one of your Pokemon, you can play this card on your turn, shuffle your hand, and your opponent shuffles their hand. You draw 4, they draw 2, so it really sometimes disrupts your opponent really well. You can running 2 TM Evo for the same reason the Gardevoir deck was running 2 TM Evos, to make sure that you can start the game with a TM Evo if you're going second. Binding Mochi allows you to do 40 more damage if you're poisoned, so it allows Victorious Flames to do 210, and then also Powerful Rage does extra damage on top of that too, so it's a really good card. You only really need 1 because you're only really playing 1. 2 Ends Castle. Ends Castle will give that Zoroark and the Ends Reshiram free retreat, which is why you're not too worried about all your Pokemon with a lot of retreat, because you do have the Toro. And then you're running 7 Dark Energies to make sure you can get those into your hand. I think, honestly, if I had any issues with this deck, I think you would want maybe 1 or 2 Ends PP up to be able to make sure that you can recycle energies a little better. Or a Night Stretcher. Yeah, that's like the only thing I'd say that would be good for this deck. But anyways, that was Worlds. If you did enjoy this little review video, hit the like button. Comment down below your favorite deck that was played in World, that made it to Day 2 in Worlds. Let me know if you think that Piper also should have won Worlds, because in my opinion, Piper deserved the win. I'm kind of offended that they did not win, so it's okay. Riley is also deserving of it. He did make it, obviously, so he did deserve it. But yeah, no. Let me know what you guys think. And I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. But until then, I will see. I don't know. But yeah, until then, bye-bye.